back to the matter of reaction. Because it is always here that freedom either stands or falls. Faith, you see, is not your theology, not your beautiful phrases, not even your memory of last week's peace. Faith is shown by your reaction to the appearance that confronts you. If you do not react, you are already outside its jurisdiction. Right there, in that split second of withheld obedience, the case is decided. Be still and know that I am God is not poetry, it is law. And the law is this: the instant you are still, the appearance is no longer your master. Now, what is panic? Not a power, not a cause, not a God. Panic is an appearance clamoring for worship. It shouts, bow to me, name me, fear me, fix me, argue with me. It is Nebuchadnezzar's image raised on the plain, and the furnace is merely the suggestion that if you do not bow, you will burn. But hear the answer of Spirit, thou shalt have no other gods before me. We will not bow. We are not careful to answer this appearance in this matter, whether it blazes or whispers. We neither fear, love, nor hate it. We recognize it as impersonal weather, an idol without breath. You see that? The moment you refuse it, your reverence, it loses the only life it ever seemed to have, your reaction. So I put the question to you, gently and without compromise. Can you stop panic without fighting it by refusing it authority? Not by gathering human courage, not by clenching teeth or forcing calm, but by standing where Christ stands without a sword. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. God is not a club to beat down fear. God is not power as the world counts power. God isn't mind. God isn't even soul. Nobody knows what God is. Therefore, do not turn to God to do something to panic. Turn within to that which needs no doing. Take no thought for your life. Let thought subside until there is a breathless knowing that I, God, am. Here is the middle path, and you must love its simplicity. Do not try to change the sensation, and do not try to keep it. Let it be and be still. Refuse to name it, refuse to fix it, refuse to tell a story about it. Do not recruit God to your side. Have no side. When the Master said to the sea, peace, be still, he did not wrestle waves. He stood as the unmoved. And when you withhold your reaction, that same Christ quiet announces itself. The sea may ripple, but its claim upon you is gone. Even now, as you listen, withhold your obedience to the image and feel what remains when the bowing ceases. That is freedom beginning. Now let us take the next step and take it with clarity. Refuse the sensation, not by force, but by non-obedience. Do not fight panic. Starve it. Do you see that? The very moment you remove your reaction, you pull the plug on its borrowed current. Resist not evil was the Master's word, not because evil has power, but because reaction fattens a shadow into a giant. We are not to swing at the wind. We are to let it pass through a presence that does not move. The instant you do not serve the sensation with fear, with naming, with fixing, the balance of power changes not out there, but here. And here is where the only government is. Differentiate clearly the trembling from your consent. The body may shake as leaves in a storm, but the heart is not obligated to bow. You do not have to agree. Though an host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Psalm 27. The flesh may throb, breath may quicken, thoughts may parade, leave them to their weather. Consent is your altar. What you place upon it burns or blesses. Withdraw consent. If the hand shakes, let it shake. If thought chatters, let it chatter, but do not crown it with I and mine. Refuse to say my panic. Refuse to tell it a story. Be the one within who neither fears, loves, nor hates the sensation, and you will feel a quiet begin that does not come from managing symptoms, but from not consenting to their godhood. Principle over personality always. You are not dealing with your nerves, your childhood, their tone of voice, or yesterday's coffee. You are facing the universal belief that there exists a power besides God. That is all. Call it panic, contagion, market swings, family drama, one mask, one claim, no law to support it. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, one, not two. We never fight a second power because there is none, you see? This is not about becoming a braver human. It is about not giving reality to the impersonal suggestion that fear governs. When recognized as impersonal and lawless, it cannot bind you. Never enter the case humanly. Do not coach the breath. Do not rehearse affirmations as pep talk. Do not argue with yourself in the mirror. Stand in the principle and let principle be itself. Be not afraid. It is I, Mark 6:50, is not a sentence to recite to the storm. It is the recognition that the only I present is the I am, and that I needs no help. I recall a letter from a woman on a trolley crossing Market Street, hands sweating, knees weak. She said, I remembered, refuse obedience. She did not steady her pulse. She withdrew her worship. By the next stop, the heat of it was gone, not because she won a contest with a symptom, but because she never entered one. Power shifts the moment you deny panic your obedience. That shift is the whole story. Thou shalt have no other gods before me is fulfilled as you withhold reverence from the image and stand unarmed in the one. Let sensation come or go. Let appearances dance or droop. You be still. And in that stillness, no sides, no fixing. Presence announces itself, and the sea, having lost your wind, lies down of its own accord. Let us call panic what it is, not yours, not mine, but universal fear weather passing through the atmosphere of human belief. It is the collective thought, the accumulated suggestion, the herd wind that whistles. Bow to me, I am law, and it is not law. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, not two, not a second statute of nerves and breath and pulse that can compel collapse. When you see that, truly see it, the personality drops out of the case and the mask is off. You are not fighting a personal devil. You are watching fog swirl on a river. You don't argue with fog. You don't make treaties with it. You wait upon the sun. Do you see? What is impersonal and lawless cannot bind you once it is recognized as such. Headlines are the liturgy of this weather-inked thunderclaps, printing fear every hour on the hour so that the masses may kneel to consensus. Drafts and colds, how many of us learned as children that a cool breeze has jurisdiction to sentence you to 3 days in bed? Crowd contagion, the yawn that travels row to row, the tremor at the stadium that becomes a stampede because someone's fear borrowed your feet. None of this has a law behind it. It is the rumor of law, the superstition of cause and effect in a universe where he maketh the storm a calm, so that the waves thereof are still. Psalm 107-29. Right now we withdraw our reverence from rumor. Right now we nullify any seeming effect from a universal belief, not by contesting it, but by refusing it the only fuel it has, our reaction. There is only one power. When I say that, I am not giving you a new chant. I am removing your need to defend yourself in two kingdoms. The instant you accept a second law, the law of contagion, the law of nerves, the law of headlines, you will behave as if it were so, and your behavior will seem to prove your faithless creed. But the moment you recognize, this is the weather of universal belief, not a person, not a cause, not a God. You have cut the string. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. Isaiah 54-17 is not a challenge to the weapon. It is a revelation that there is no law to prosper it. We have all yielded to the storm. Do not make a sin of that. We have all, at some hour, read the paper and felt the wind in our chest, sat in a crowded room and caught the mood, slept under an open window and woke to the verdict of a mother or a memory. You'll be sick, all right? We have served that idol, and we know its liturgy, but now we practice refusing it, not by bravado, not by shouting truth over weather, but by withholding consent the moment we smell the old incense. When the suggestion comes, name me panic, contagion, collapse, we answer no. When it invites us to fix it with human power, we answer no. When it threatens outcomes, we answer no. We take no sides with the wind. Perfect love casteth out fear. 1 John 4:18. Do not force love, do not fake it. Be still long enough to remember there is only love, and the fog will find nothing to cling to. In that remembering, the universal suggestion meets the universal Christ, and without a struggle passes on. Now we bring this out of the clouds and place it in your hands as a simple drill. 4 movements, notice. Don't name, don't fix, be still. Not complicated, not ornamental. A doorway. First, notice, permit the sensation to appear without commentary, like a sentinel who sees and does not shout. Do you see that? The God does not ring the city bell for every leaf that stirs. He observes, he does not obey. Sensation arises, all right. Breath tightens, all right. The heart taps, all right. You stand where you are and notice. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15. Strength begins right there, in the refusal to dramatize the weather. Second, don't name. Drop labels, panic attack, failure, doom, because naming weaves a net, and when you weave the net, you step into it. Scripture says, whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof, Genesis 2:19, and so it is. Whatever you call it, it becomes to you. Do not call this fog a monster. Do not call this flutter a verdict. Call it nothing at all. Refuse my before any term. Refuse I am before any symptom. Never take the holy name in vain by tying it to an appearance. When you do not christen the wave, it cannot inherit your shore. Third, don't fix. Do not bargain. Do not reach for tricks. Do not recruit God to your side. No breathing schemes, no cold water, no counting tiles to steady the room. Leave the room alone. Resist not evil, Matthew 5:39, does not counsel passivity. It reveals that resistance fattens a shadow. For half a minute, 30 heartbeats, if you must count, lay down every intervention. Never enter the case humanly. Don't coach the body. Don't preach to the mind. If there is only one, there is nothing to fix. There is only to refrain from building altars to a second power. Fourth, be still. Not as a technique to make something happen, but as a willingness to let all that is not God fall through. Be still and know that I am God. There must come a split second of silence in which thought is not taking hold, and in that ungrasping, God contact is given, not made. Nobody by taking thought can contact God. Contact announces itself when thought stands aside. Let thy words be few. Ecclesiastes 5:2. In that fewness, a presence is felt. Not a sensation to clutch, not a voice to quote, but the eye that needs no help. And then, without your engineering, the sea hears the ancient word, peace, be still. Mark 4:39. And the wave remembers it was only water. This is the whole movement of our method. Notice, see without shouting. Don't name, deny the net it's twined. Don't fix, starve the idol of your tools. Be still. Sink below the weather into the one. By refusing to name and fix, you clear a still space where presence announces itself, and in that announcement the appearance, having lost your wind, loses its voyage. You see? We have not changed the sea. We have found the shore. Now let us make this so simple that obedience has no excuse. 30 seconds. Not a vigil, not a retreat, not a performance. 30 seconds of unresisted stillness. Time box it. Glance at a clock if you must, or set a silent count, 1, 2, 3, without hurry, without will. Brevity invites compliance. You are not promising an hour in a garden. You are granting half a minute of non-obedience to the image. Give the principle 30 seconds of unresisted stillness and watch what does not belong fall away. Do you see that? You can afford it anywhere, at any hour, and because you can afford it, you will do it. Posture and place, let us keep them ordinary. Sit or stand where you are. If you are on a bus, remain on the bus. If you are at the sink, leave the plates where they are. Eyes soft, not closed, if closing them makes a theater of it. Open if open keeps you honest. No special room, no special chair, no scented air. Man was not made for the Sabbath. Mark 2:27. Do not make a Sabbath idol. The Master said it would be neither in this mountain nor in Jerusalem, but in spirit and in truth. Sanctuary is here because I am is here. All right. Stand or sit and be. About the breath, do not touch it. Do not make of breath your lever, your pet trick, your harness. Breath is weather. Let it do what weather does while you refuse reaction. If it is shallow, let it be shallow. If it surges, let it surge. We are not coaching the lungs. We are starving the idol. This kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Matthew 17:21. Fast then for 30 seconds, not from food, but from thought, from words, from outcomes. Fast from naming, fast from fixing, fast from asking. Let prayer be no saying, no to the second power, no to the habit of pleading, no to the story that anything needs to change before God is God. Now the count. If a clock is near, set your eye upon the second hand and do not argue with it. If there is no clock, count quietly with a heart 30 pulses if you can find them, or a slow inward tally that neither hurries nor delays. While you count, do nothing. Let the 4 movements hold you. Notice, don't name, don't fix, be still. If thoughts crowd, all right, let them pass without your signature. If the body chatters, all right, let it chatter without your crown. Let thy words be few, Ecclesiastes 5:2. Fewer still, your inner words. You are not getting calm. You are refusing to serve a God that never was. When the 30 are complete, do not lunge for a result. Do not analyze your performance. Do not check your pulse. Do not ask how you did. Simply resume the hour as the one who did not bow. If there is a residue of weather, let it meet a residue of stillness. If there is a clearing, be grateful and quiet. If nothing seems to have altered, do not be deceived. The obedience stands, and the idol has lost its meal. Let patience have her perfect work. James 1-4. 30 seconds given without resistance opens a silence where presence announces itself. And in that announcement, appearances, having lost your wind, lose their voyage. Do it again and again wherever you are, and you will discover that anywhere is holy ground. All right, let us do this together now. Not as an exercise to get somewhere, not as a trick to quiet the body, but as obedience to principle. You will not help me, and I will not help you. We will not help God. We will let God be God while we stop feeding the image with our reaction. 30 seconds. No mountain, no temple, here. Neither close your eyes to make a drama, nor open them to police your state. Just be as you are, you see, and we will walk it. First 5 seconds notice, that is all. I see the wave, I am not the wave. Sensation is moving, I within am still. The room remains as it is. The heart does whatever hearts do. Thoughts stroll like passers-by in a market. We are the sentinel who sees and does not sound the alarm. Be still and know that I am God, not by telling the sea what to be, but by refusing to be the sea. Notice, and refuse to enlist. Now the next 10 seconds, 5 to 15, don't name. Drop every word about it. Not panic, not me, not mine. Do not attach I am to any report. Never take the holy name in vain by fastening it to a passing wind. Let labels fall like leaves from an autumn tree, beautiful perhaps, but not needed. This is prayer and fasting, fasting from nouns and stories. Prayer is holy no, no to the urge to define, no to the habit of diagnosis, no to the old catechism of fear. We are not agreeing with the shadow by spelling its name. We are starving it by silence. Now seconds 15 to 25. Be still. No asking, no fixing. Do not recruit God to your side to do something to a wave. Let every petition fall through your hands. Be not afraid. It is I, Mark 6:50. That is enough. Even this sentence is a finger pointing. Touch the moon, not the finger. No coaching of breath, no counting the pulse, no cleverness. Resist not evil is our instruction, not acquiescence, but the refusal to grant it reality. Let presence have the field. Peace, be still, Mark 4:39, is not a command you issue to the sea. It is the nature of the I that you are witnessing now, with no help from thought. Now the last 5 seconds, 25 to 30, recognition. Without strain, it is noticed that silence is present. Not your silence, not made, not kept present, as if a curtain you never hung has already fallen. Release the timer. Let the count vanish like mist under the sun. No verdict, no commentary. Do not look back to see how you did. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. Walk on in that sentence without finishing it. Return to the task at hand as the one who did not bow. And do you feel it? A simple cadence has carried you from seeing the wave to standing untouched in the sea. After the 30, do not turn into an auditor of your own soul. Expect echoes and refuse to invoice yourself for their return. You had 30 seconds of holy fasting. All right. If another wave rises, that does not mean failure. It means weather has a few more laps. Let patience have her perfect work, James 1-4. Do not judge your demonstration day by day, breath by breath, as if the infinite reported to your stopwatch. You see, the tree does not file hourly growth reports. First the blade, then the year, after that the full corn in the year. Mark 4:28. The movement is sure, the timing is not yours. So if a tremor revisits, we do not scold, we do not analyze, we do not amend the method, we repeat it. Frequency without fever, steadiness without strain. Refuse post-mortems. Do not step out of the silence to pick over your silence. Gratitude and quiet are the only commentary allowed. You do not grade the sea for remembering how to be still. You let it be still and walk on. If you feel a softening, be grateful gently and say nothing within. If you feel no softening, be grateful gently and say nothing within. The gratitude is not for a condition. It is for the fact that God is and you are learning to stop bowing to what is not. No man, having put his hand to the plow and looking back, is fit for the kingdom of God. Luke 9:62. Looking back is the post-mortem. Forward is the next ordinary step taken as the one who did not bow. Now, should the wave return at noon, at 3, At midnight, we do not sigh, we do not dramatize, we give the principle 30 seconds again. 5 times if needed, 50 times if the day requires, without making a theater of endurance. This is fasting, not contest. Never enter the case humanly. Do not add new trinkets to the drill because the mind is bored. Do not add bargaining to buy results. 30 seconds notice. Don't name, don't fix, be still, and back to your hour. In Maui, a fisherman wrote me, "It rose in me on the water. I did the 34 times between buoys. By the pier I wasn't brave, I was empty, and the fear had no hook. He did not win. He stopped supplying bait." Do you see that? Our interest is obedience to principle, not reportable success. If you make a God of results, you will serve that idol with anxiety and call it spirituality. We do not turn to God to do something to a symptom. We turn from the belief in a second power and rest. Take, therefore, no thought for the morrow, Matthew 6:34. No thought for the next wave. No thought for the timing of an end. Let maturity bring to light what has shifted. The oak does not strain to be tall. It abides its nature. You abide yours. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord is not a promise of quickness. It is a command to relinquish authorship. So after the 30, walk on. If residue hums, let it meet the residue of stillness you carry. If quiet blooms, do not clutch it. If nothing seems different, bless the hour and do the next thing required. We do the 30 as often as needed, and we will not make a God of results. Stand fast in that liberty, Galatians 5:1, and you will find that what returns asks for alms it no longer receives. Now we take this out into the hour where it lives, triggers, whatever the scene. Remember, you are never dealing with a person or a problem, only the temptation to react. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment, John 7:24. Righteous judgment is not choosing a better side. It is refusing sides altogether and standing in the one. Do you see? No sides, no stories, only principle. A health twinge, there it is. A spark in the chest, a twist in the gut, a dizzy minute at the sink. The old catechism rushes in. Diagnose it, name it, Google it, fear it, fix it. No, notice it, don't name, don't fix. Be still, give it 30 seconds right there with the dishwater running. No medical theater, no heroics, no vows. I am the Lord that healeth thee, Exodus 15:26, is not a promise to rearrange symptoms. It is the revelation that there is only one. Neither believe the twinge nor fight it. Refuse my before any word. Refuse to enter the case humanly. Let the weather pass while you abide the still. When the 30 close dry your hands and do the next ordinary thing as the one who did not bow. A money email, subject line loud, numbers red, deadlines braided with blame. The world will draft you into its armies, creditor versus debtor, capital versus labor, right versus wrong. No, not even the side that hires you. Christ is the only identity. Sit where you are and grant the principle 30 seconds. Do not open the spreadsheet in your mind. Do not plead with God to fix digits. Owe no man anything but to love one another, Romans 13:8, is not a budget lecture. It is an identity statement. After the 30, you may write, you may wait, you may call, but the doing will not be a reaction, and therefore it will carry no quarrel. You are not seeking to win the case. You are witnessing one life expressing, and that leaves no loser. A partner's tone, the sharp edge, the old trigger, the script that knows its lines. Ignore the person, get to the principle. You are not facing a temperament. You are facing a universal belief, baiting you to supply anger. Withdraw supply. 30 seconds, wherever you stand, hallway, car seat, doorstep. No storytelling, no rehearsal of past wrongs. A soft answer turneth away wrath. Proverbs 15:1 is not a tactic to manage them. It is what remains when you refuse to be two. Remove your reaction and the quarrel starves. Often words will not be needed, and if they come, they will be few and clean. Clip the practice to everything. Each trigger becomes its own 30-second, short, modular, portable, immediate. Before you tap reply, before you answer the door, between ring and hello, at the threshold of a room, in the elevator's pause, notice. Don't name, don't fix, be still. Let thy words be few, Ecclesiastes 5:2, and let your silences be many. We are not smoothing surfaces. We are refusing to fund unreality. Blessed are the peacemakers, Matthew 5-9, not peace enforcers, not side choosers, peacemakers because they have no story but the one and no reaction but the still. Now we come to the depth beneath the drill. The reason the sea quiets without our hands. Contact, not concept, calms the sea. God isn't mind. God isn't even soul. Nobody knows what God is. Nobody by taking thought can contact God. You can think noble thoughts until the sun goes down and rise to think them again, and the wave will still be arguing with your mind. The Master did not offer ideas as life preservers. He offered life. I am the way, the truth, and the life, John 14:6. And life is not an idea. The peace of God, which passeth all understanding, Philippians 4:7, is peace that refuses to report to intellect. Do you see that? As long as you are arranging sentences, you are still on the surface of the water. We are not saved by good wording. We are met by presence when thought ceases to be priest and we cease to be parishioner to our own mind. So, for 30 seconds, forget all the truth we ever knew. Put down even sacred sentences. God is love. All is well. I am not, because they are false, but because they are lesser than the one who utters them. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, Matthew 6:6. The door is shut when even holy words are outside. This kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Matthew 17:21. Fast then from words, from affirmations, from the ambition to feel spiritual. Fast from the wish to see a result. Prayer in these 30 seconds is not talk. It is yieldedness without content. Be still and know that I am God. Not be bright, not be learned, be still. I, God, am the solution to all problems is not a slogan to carry in the pocket. It is a recognition that arises in silence by itself. You do not say it to make it true. You are quiet enough that truth says itself and leaves a mark that the mind cannot counterfeit. Deep calleth unto deep. Psalm 42:7. In that call there are no syllables. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit, Romans 8:16. That witness is the click, no fireworks, no philosophy, but a wordless assurance, a weight of rightness, and very often a soft, untheatrical lessening of the compulsion to act. Not a mood change, governance. Not euphoria, authority. When the click is given, the storm finds no handhold, and not because you argued well, but because reality admitted itself. Therefore, in your 30, do not aim at God with thoughts about God. Do not even hold the word presence like a charm. Enter the closet. Shut the door on images, expectations, even on your own improvement. Let the attempt fail, let words fail on purpose until there is only a bare attention, without object, without plea. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him, Habakkuk 2:20. In that reverent nothing saying, the sea recognizes its master. We do not turn to God to do something to a wave. We let God be God, and the wave forgets its name. Neither fear, love, nor hate, the silence consent to it. Stand still, do you see? And the knowing that is not of thought announces itself. That knowing, not your cleverness, carries you, and when you rise from the 30, do the next ordinary thing as one who has been met, not taught. Now, because we are learners, let us be very honest about the subtle ways we slip out of principle and back into the weather, and how simply we return. The first misstep is naming, this is my panic, my condition, my wiring. The moment you put my before an appearance, you have christened the fog with your holy name and given it domicile. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Exodus 20-7 is not a rule about vocabulary. It is a safeguard against hitching I am to a passing wind. Correction? Remove the crown. Return it to anonymity. This is an appearance, an impersonal weather, not an identity. Christ is the only identity. Judge not according to the appearance. John 7:24. Say nothing within. Withhold the pronoun, and the fog finds no address. The second misstep is fixing, fussing with breath, counting backward by sevens, bargaining with God like a merchant in the stall. Do you see that? You have turned to God as power hired to do something to a wave. God isn't power, God is. Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit unto his stature? Matthew 6:27. Not by thought, not by trick. Correction? During the 30, fast from all technique. This kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Matthew 17:21. Fast from counters, levers, and little helps. Never enter the case humanly. Let the lungs be weather. Let presence be presence without your coaching. Third, measuring clock, watching for relief, checking pulse like an usher taking tickets. When you police the 30 for outcome, you have enthroned time and demoted God. Let patience have her perfect work. James 1-4. Correction, do the count to protect your obedience, then drop the ruler. No scorekeeping. Do not look back to see how you did. Rise and do the next ordinary thing as the one who did not bow. Maturity brings to light. It does not report to your stopwatch. Fourth, story making, blaming, bodies, people, yesterday, childhood, the boss, the moon, principle over personalities, always, not even the side that hires you. Peter walked on water until he saw the wind boisterous and began to sink. Matthew 14:30. The story is the wind. The sink is reaction. Correction, stop mid-sentence. Do not beautify the narrative or find the villain. With a holy no, re-enter the stillness. Notice, don't name, don't fix, be still. 30 seconds. No sides, no stories. A nurse wrote me from Boston. I caught myself counting breaths under my mask, promising God better devotions if he'd settle me. All right, she saw it. She stopped in the supply closet and did the 30 with empty hands. No bargains, no counters. She returned to the floor unheroic and unhunted, not because she got a technique right, but because she withdrew her obedience to a second power. So when you catch yourself reacting in a subtle form, a trick, a glance at the clock, a fresh chapter in the old saga, do not scold and do not explain. Simply stop and re-enter the stillness. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. 2 Chronicles 20:17. The correction is not clever. It is consent. And consent given again and again becomes character, non-reaction, settling into your very gait until, without drama, the winds lose your address. Now we make this very plain. Sanctuary is not a room and not a day. Sanctuary is any moment you refuse reaction and enter silence. Neither in this mountain nor in Jerusalem, but in spirit and in truth. John 4:21, 2:4. You see? The commute becomes an altar when you sit with eyes soft and decline to feed a second power. The meeting becomes a chapel when you listen without arming for your turn to speak. The checkout line is a nave when you do the 30 with your hand on the cart and your heart off the story. Midnight wakefulness when the ceiling seems to float and the clock stairs becomes holy ground, when you do not wrestle sleep like Jacob but fast from naming, fixing, and outcomes for half a minute and let the angel bless you without your grip. Eyes open or closed, either will do. Standing or seated, either will do. You will not build a booth on the mount. You will notice, not name, not fix, and be still, right where you stand. Man was not made for the Sabbath, Mark 2:27. Do not wait for a special chair, a scented room, a bell. Let thy words be few, Ecclesiastes 5:2. Fewer still your inner words. Your bus seat is a pew if you will not bow to the weather. Your office hallway is a cloister if you take 3 steps and refuse the story. At the crosswalk, at the sink, at the school gate, between ring and hello, 30 seconds, and the world remembers whose it is. And when the tide is high, stack the rounds, 2 or 3 consecutive 30s. Gentle, not grim, pearls on a loose string, not stones in a sack. All right? Finish the first with no verdict. Let a breath pass of no doing. Then again, notice, don't name, don't fix, be still. Do not turn it into penance. This kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. Matthew 17:21. And our fasting is from reaction, not from joy. No clenched jaw, no stopwatch righteousness. A child fusses at the market. You feel the old heat rise. You grant 30, then another. By the third, the heat cannot find your signature. Not victory, absence of tribute. Sabbath is reframed now. The Master told the woman, Spirit seeks worshipers in spirit and in truth, not in geography, John 4:23. Therefore, the city is your temple, and the hour is your bell. Pray without ceasing, 1 Thessalonians 5:17, is not chatter. It is these micro-silences sprinkled like salt through your day until flavor overcomes the dish. Enter thy closet, Matthew 6:6, with eyes open in a conference room. Shut the door on words and outcomes. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, 2 Chronicles 20:17, without moving a chair. In the night, when you wake at 2 and the mind offers contracts to buy sleep, refuse the bargain. Give 30. If the sea still talks, give 30 again. Turn without inspecting yourself. He giveth his beloved sleep, Psalm 127:2. If sleep returns, bless God in silence. If it does not, bless God in silence and rise later as the one who did not bow. Take off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground, Exodus 3-5. Not because the ground changed, but because you ceased to serve a second power. Do this anywhere, anytime, and you will find that the world has not become a sanctuary. You have ceased leaving it. Now, having made the hour a sanctuary, let us remove the last idol that sneaks into the sanctuary with its shoes on. Speed. Don't look at your demonstration day by day. Fruit ripens unseen until it is suddenly sweet. The kingdom of God is as if a man should cast seed into the ground and should sleep and rise night and day, and the seed should spring and grow up. He knoweth not how. Mark 4:26, 2:7. You see, the farmer is faithful with soil and season, but he does not keep running into the field to tug the shoots. If you keep auditing your stillness for a sensation of success, you will bruise the blossom with your measuring hand. In patience possess ye your souls, Luke 21:19. Let patience have her perfect work, James 1-4. Not perfect hurry. God does not report to your stopwatch, and the click cannot be subpoenaed by anxiety. If relief tarries, keep the vigil. Saul of Tarsus did not preach the next afternoon, Years ripened in him before he went out. Some say 9. It took what it took. Do you think for a minute that zeal could replace gestation? No. There are inner rootings you cannot witness and therefore must not supervise. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength, Isaiah 40-31. Waiting is not idleness. It is non-reaction stretched across time. We are not manufacturing calm. We are consenting to be governed, and governance matures like a slow-growing oak rings, appearing without fanfare until one morning the very wind finds new resistance in you and does not know why. Sometimes the ripening requires a separation, and we must not romanticize what we should release. I do not say abandon your life. I say let go of cherished copings that keep the second power fed, little props, rituals, bargains, and pet comforts that whisper, only with me can you stand. If a separation from cherished coping is required, let's have it. A cup too late at night you nurse as sanctuary, a playlist you use to outshout thought, a breath gadgetry you serve as if it were priest, if it must go for a season, all right. If thou wilt be perfect, go and sell. Matthew 19:21 is the spirit. Relinquish the substitute. Sometimes a letting go is very spiritual. The gourd that once shaded Jonah must wither. Its loss is not punishment but promotion, God proving himself a shade without intermediaries. And now hear this plainly. Your only business is obedience, not result, not reputation, not making a case come out in your favor, principle over personalities, not even the side that hires you. If the one that engaged you wants to lose, that's his business, not yours. You stand in the 1 and do the 30 as required. You answer when moved. You are silent when unmoved. Should the ledger show a human loss, do not flinch. Do not enter the case humanly to save face. Be careful for nothing, Philippians 4-6. Our interest is not in winning appearances. It is in withholding obedience from them. Detach from speed and outcome. Remain faithful to the practice and let maturity reveal its harvest. When the fruit is ripe, it falls into your hand without your reaching. And until then, sleep, rise, keep the micro-silences, and walk the day as the one who does not bow. All right, let me set before you a few letters, not to make a doctrine, not to gather trophies, but to show footprints where principle walked in the dust, you see, so that the hesitant heart is reassured while remembering that the authority is never the story. It is always the inner click in silence. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall every word be established, 2 Corinthians 13-1, established for your courage, not for your mind to collect. We will not enshrine outcomes. We will honor obedience and the God contact that needs no applause. A student in finance wrote me after a boardroom turned to weather. Numbers were flying like stones, personalities heating, and in him a familiar furnace, opened rage, braided to righteousness, the worst kind. He said, I stood to answer. I could feel the speech writing itself with fire. And there, by the water pitcher, he remembered, never enter the case humanly. He turned slightly, eyes open, and gave the 30 notice. Don't name, don't fix, be still, no theology, no inner pep talk, no plan to win a vote. He wrote, somewhere between 15 and 20 seconds, the heat uncoupled from my tongue. I saw the spreadsheet without the story. I sat. When I did speak, it was 1 sentence, and I had no edge. The room settled of itself. Do you see? Not victory in a contest, withdrawal of obedience from a second power. I did not counsel him. I had not told him whom to favor. A soft answer turneth away wrath, Proverbs 15-1. But it was not a tactic. It was the byproduct of having no side. Another, a parent at midnight, he writes, the house was quiet, but my head was not. I sat on the hallway floor outside my son's door and timed 3 rounds, 30, and then again and again. No change at first, no angel chorus, just the same ceiling, the same hum on the walk back to bed, something unclenched without my help. I wasn't sleepy, I was governed. I woke later as if sleep had found me while I wasn't looking. That is it. Let patience have her perfect work. He did not bargain with God for a result. He fasted from naming, fixing an outcome, and peace overtook him on the way, like the disciples who knew him not till bread broke, Luke 24-35. The click is often shy of theatrics. He giveth his beloved sleep, Psalm 127-2. Not always at the first minute, but unfailingly out of the unseen. A performer wrote from the road hands that had never shaken, now quivered before the red light of an audience. The first night she noticed without naming, she refused to fix, she let the tremor be weather and gave it 30 at the wings, no miracle. The second night, again, no bargain, no inner speech. The third night, she wrote, the tremor came, looking for its host, and found the door unmarked. It shook in the air, but not in me, not triumph, vacancy. Perfect love casteth out fear. 1 John 4:18. Not as a mood she manufactured, but as the absence of a second identity to house it. Now, hear this with care. We do not build a creed from letters. We do not turn these into proof that a certain number of 30s in a certain hallway will guarantee a certain outcome. Testimony reassures, thank God for it, but the authority is always the inner click that arises when you have fasted from reaction and sat in holy no. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit, Romans 8:16. That witness is your charter, not my stories. Let these cases warm your hands at dawn, then leave the fire and walk your own field. Do not imitate their motions, imitate their obedience. Enter your closet, shut the door, give 30 without naming, without fixing, without buying a future, and the one who sees in secret will answer in secret. Matthew 6:6. Not to your stopwatch, not to your pride, but to that place within where storms lose their borrowed name. Now we come to the commission, the rule of life that keeps the oil in the lamp before midnight knocks. Practice before panic asks for it. 5 rounds scattered through the day, simple, ordinary, unannounced. Upon waking, before speech or screen, sometime before noon, sometime in the afternoon, sometime toward evening, before the light is out. Not as law, not as penance, consecration. 30 seconds each time, notice, don't name, don't fix, be still, no shopping for feelings, no bargaining. Pray without ceasing, 1 Thessalonians 5:17, does not mean many words. It means many refusals to serve a second power. Do you see? These 5 make a climate in which storms arrive to find you already at sea level calm. Guard the 5 the way a farmer guards seed time. If the hour is crowded, steal from the crowd a half minute and return it sanctified. Watch and pray, Matthew 26-41. Watch so you catch the small winds before they bully. Pray, which here means fast from reaction. Never enter the case humanly, not even the case of your schedule. If you miss a round, do not scold. Do the next one without drama. Our interest is obedience to principle, not perfect attendance. Let maturity bring to light, and then the trumpet. There will be a ring, a word, a look, a stab, and the old recruit in you will try to run to arms. Not this time. When the trumpet sounds, obey the 30 at once. No speeches to yourself. No theology. No counting victories, lost or won. Only silence. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, 1 Corinthians 15:52, Turn aside within and fast. Notice, don't name, don't fix. Be still. If you are standing, stand. If you are seated, sit. If you are in the doorway, remain. Your action is the withholding of obedience. Be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid. Matthew 14:27. Is not a pep talk. It is what rises unbidden when you have not funded the second power. The emergency click is not a technique. It is a door you have learned to leave unlocked by the five. At day's end, report nothing but your obedience. Do not ask, did it work? Do not make a ledger of symptoms soothed or storms delayed. Stand, therefore, and having done all, to stand, Ephesians 6:13. You stand in the one and you sleep in the one. If echoes come, tomorrow you will give the 5, and at the trumpet you will give the 30, and you will not make a god of results. The Lord is my shepherd. He restoreth my soul. Psalm 23:1-3. Restoration is his. Refusal to react is ours. Live by these consecrated micro-silences until calm is no longer an event but your address, and the sea, finding no debtor in you, pays no visit. In thy silence I shall come to you.